Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft, casting some pro level replays between Verdi, red Protoss in top left, and Evil Genius Jaedong in the bottom left. It's our blue Zerg player. It is in the morning, so I am on some really good vanilla biscotti coffee at the moment here while I'm casting some replays. Actually quite excited that some new ones have been put out to the community to be able to look at. So we're going to be able to go through this and pull down some cool stuff, as I've not actually been able to find a Jaedong replay as of his recent play. Obviously you can find some of his ancient stuff if you want to look for it. He will be sending his overlord in the right direction, which is going to help him out plenty here. Right. It is the long weekend right now where I'm at. Should actually speed it up here slightly at the beginning. It's the May long weekend, and then I believe it's because of Victoria Day. I work all kinds of crazy hours, so I generally don't even remember when there is a holiday. It doesn't even stand out to me anymore. Like, oh, I got a day off. Isn't that fantastic? But because it is Victoria Day, which is a Monday, and I've got nothing better to do, I'll be casting up some replays here and probably playing a little bit of ladder games in a bit. I know some people were looking forward to some of my games out there, showing me getting a little bit better. When I only play a handful of games once in a while, it's hard to really say that I'm getting better. But it does allow me to show off some of the different tips and tricks that I find when I'm watching these guys play. We did have a pool first out of Jaedong, which is completely understandable. He's not going to use that for any pressure, as I could tell. It's more about making sure that he can get his hatches down in a good point. I don't know if the Zerg player isn't sending out any drones, but the Protoss player... Oh, he does see the probe right now, so he should know that this is the direction. Same thing with the Protoss player should know that the Zerg player is down at the bottom left. You can see that that's where his probe is going to be going first. We did have the cybernetics core, and we do have one in gas. Looks like it's going to be just enough gas so that he can get his warp gate, I'm assuming. I know that at a really top level, actually the amount of people you put into gas is really important, but I find it kind of surprising you'd spend the money on a couple of simulators if you weren't going to fill them up. And we're going to see Jaedong hide his overlord just behind the base so we can easily come in and see when the expansion is going to go down. Going to get out a couple of queens. Probably hit an inject and start running down to the other base. Yep, there he goes. And there's the expansion for the Protoss player. And I don't believe... Yeah, here comes in Jaedong. He's got these timings down pretty good. He should know about when an expansion should happen. And what he doesn't want to do is show the overlord at the same time. So that way, the Protoss player doesn't know for sure that the overlord is out of the way. Looks like just hunting down some Zerglings. Stalkers are faster than Zerglings without speed. Fast third base. Looks like he's going to be expanding away from the Protoss. Probably the smartest thing to do, because this is obviously where any type of 2-base pressure is going to come first and kill everything. So expanding away from your opponent as a Zerg player is often the smartest way to do things. Nothing too crazy tech-wise out of Jaedong. I don't think he's even really getting any gas. He's just got the one gas with nothing in it. Looks like it was just enough so that he could... Did he get any gas out of this thing? No, he hasn't mined any gas out of that. He made it, but he hasn't actually started mining any gas whatsoever. So he's going to be powering up pretty big time into some more macro units. This base will be done here shortly. Does he have another queen that he's sending over? Yes, he does. Doesn't have a queen at this base yet, but it is being made and should be popping pretty quick. Very, very macro focused out of Jaedong. If you look at his units tab, you see he's actually pulling a pretty good lead over the Protoss player, even with 2 bases and chrono boost, just because of his opportunity to have the 3 hatches. Looks like he has started mining gas. He hasn't even got 100 out of it yet, though, and he is taking another gas as well, so he can start getting up some form of tech. Protoss player is going to be finishing up his warp gate here any minute. He has 3 gates down. We don't see anything like a robotics facility or Twilight Council yet. So it could be a purely gateway army he wants to put on. There's the Twilight Council. So at some point you're going to have to see some sort of tech out of the Protoss player. We're either going to be seeing this go into Dark Shrine, which would be kind of funny, or just try to get in some blink pressure. I don't know if Blink is necessarily the most effective thing for an early game Protoss against Zerg, simply because the Zergling speed is able to really counter Stalkers pretty well. Even with Blink, you can just get so many Zerglings out. Looks like the scout is coming in from Jaedong. He should.
Our forces are under attack.
I'm just looking at Jaedong's vision right now, what he's looking at. Just dealing with his expansions, his creep. He did get Burrow, I see, on the way. If we look on this side, he did see the Twilight Council. Now comes a whole bunch more gateways. So what does that put him up to now? 3, 4, 5, 6 gateway Blink with +1's going to be finished up here right away. There is Burrow, and I'm not too sure exactly what the Burrow is going to be really used for. We didn't get a Roach Warren, I'm pretty sure, out of the Zerg player, did we? Yes, we did. So Burrow Roach play might be something interesting. Against Blink Stalker, it might be pretty effective, so you can micro all of your Roaches. There isn't any robotics facility, so there's no detection available for our Zerg player. Lots of Stalkers and Sentries. I don't know if Blink is the best way that I would be doing this kind of army push. I don't know if it's going to contribute, because if you blink back, all that means all of your Sentries are essentially going to get killed off first. So I don't know if Blink is going to be the most effective thing. But against Mass Roach, obviously Stalkers are a good choice. Got that watchtower. Got that watchtower. So the Zerg player has pretty darn good vision as to what's happening. Looks like he didn't get that Zergling burrowed into there in time. The push is going to be along the northern channel. Jaedong sees this coming. All he's going to be doing now is massing out tons and tons of units. He doesn't have his Roach speed or his +1 finished, but because you see this direction that the Protoss player is going, is that he can blink into the main, but he really doesn't have that many Stalkers here. Good timing out of Jaedong. You see he only got supply block for maybe a half a second there. That is a lot of Roaches out. This is an overwhelming amount of Roaches. He might wait for his speed and potentially his +1 to finish before he wants to go in. That way he can micro at least somewhat better. Lots and lots of Stalkers now. He knows he's going up against a primarily Roach army. He won't blink into the main because that means the rest of his army is essentially forfeit. Good time warp. Not very good force fields, but obviously there's no detection here. So he's just going to use his blink micro. 13 more Roaches on the way. +1's about to finish. The Protoss player has +2 finished though. That is pretty sick. That's going to do a lot of damage to these Roaches. First armor at 16. Very, very good damage from all those Stalkers. But there's just so many numbers here from the Zerg player that I don't think this is going to work out. Jaedong is still quite a ways behind on his upgrades, so the longer this game goes on, the more units that exist, the better this technically would be for the Protoss player. Good time warp once again. We see the supply still staying pretty good ahead for Jaedong here, and you see he's moving into a lot of Zerglings, because there's no Zealots in this composition. Zerglings are going to be able to get the surrounds on the Blink Stalkers a lot better, and we're going to see that those upgrades that Stalkers have aren't going to be as effective. Oh, we had a run by of a few Roaches. Oh, he's just going to GG out. I can agree with that. This was supposed to kill the Zerg player. There was no intention of an expansion, so the fact that this was probably going to die pretty soon, he could have... No, he doesn't have any energy. He used up all of his energy, so he couldn't recall out of there. That army was probably going to die, and he wouldn't be able to save his economy. So I would consider that to be a fairly safe GG out of Verdi. Great, smart play out of Jaedong. He did see the blink coming. Though I don't think his Roaches... I think if he just had mass Zergling, it probably would have done even better than what the Roaches did. But obviously having Burrow and no detection helped him out a great deal. Hope you guys liked that. Great game by Jaedong. We should have some more pro replays coming at you here real soon.